We introduce the character, show how crazy they are, and then we kill them.
Brett Mauser and the cast and crew of Not So Sane Entertainment are attempting to make a movie with an impossibly low budget and hopefully inspire you to do the same. Can they make a movie with just $2,500? It's a long shot.
Hi, I'm Bradley Bates. I play the rabbit. I like Serial Rabbit because me and Brett, we started the whole thing, and it was just a scene from another movie called Shadow Dragon. It was a scene the couple of the stars in there ran over a rabbit hopping across and that's all it was supposed to be. The guy in a suit hopped across the street and he got run over, and that was the end of it.
What was that?
It's a rabbit.
And I decided to go, what was that about? And then we made a whole movie about who that guy was. And we just continued to do it. And we tried, after the first one, we tried to do a second one. And it was such a failure. And so we decided from then on just to do the odd films and cut out all the even films, because every time we tried to do an even film, it would fail. And we couldn't get people to show up, or shit would just fall apart. So even numbers worked. I mean, didn't work so well, so we went to the odds, and the odds worked out great. And another thing about it is that we got to do like stupid shit that we couldn't do on other films, and it was a way like to blow off steam from all, like, because there was one time we did 7 films or something like that, and then we used Serial Rabbit, and he gave me like, I think we had 5 days. He said, we got 5 days, that's it, and I'm giving you like $5. Like, okay, we'll get that done in 5 days. And he said, then he kept throwing other things at me because I kept coming up with being able to get it done. So he asked for a midget. So I got like a black midget and a white midget. And he was like, oh, every time I throw him something that I thought was a curveball, he shows up with the midgets. So it was fun. It's the stuff where you can do the dumbest shit possible. Like we did somebody's head getting blown off. And we didn't know how to do that because we were still learning. So we just stuffed like bloody little pieces of napkin and stuff and one of these cut off, and we stuck like an air hose in there, and then we just, like, when it was time to shoot his head, it would just go, just shoot behind the back of his head and just shoot it all over the wall. And my brother loved that because that was his property, and my brother was like, I'm trying to sell this place. Hey, just, it's still good shape. Nice. Wipe it off.
And if you look at the Serial Rabbits, that's basically always the way it is. Praying mantises and the chroma keys and those people, that's the way it is. We intro them, have a scene where we see them, and then they try to kill the rabbit and get killed themselves.
Okay. I remember that. Who's Sergio in this film?
I want him to be Legion, who's is the character we created. In fact, he was a schizophrenic. So he's all, because the way that started was, it was like the first time we shot Second to Last Worst Day of My Life. We had Sergio and another dude as 2 hitmen. And then Sergio showed up, but the other guy didn't. So we were like, well, what are we going to do? It's like, well, let's make him schizophrenic. And he talks to himself, and it's the 2 hitmen.
One shot left, what do you think? I think we got to save for the snitch. It's a good idea, but I only brought 1 gun. It's okay, I brought 1 too.
So he appears in a couple different movies that way.
What about us? I don't think we'll be just fine so long as we get out of here. I'm right behind you now.
And he was in Serial Rabbit 3 as because it was originally Ace and Deuce. One of them got killed, which just wound up like Deuce and Trace, and then Trace and Quattro. And like I figured now we're up to Ocho and Nuevo.
That's what you were saying that for. I was like, oh, what they're saying that for.
In Serial Rabbit 3, he shot himself. So yeah, he really didn't shoot himself. But in the very original time we saw him in Second to Last Worst Day, Will shot him. So he was actually shot. But somehow it spawns another one and he just appears somewhere else. So we don't really know how that works. But it's the nonsense of filmmaking. It's just one of those things you leap in and go, it just happens. Yeah, it's like you don't think too hard on this. As much as we don't take Serial Rabbit seriously, there are still rules to that universe. And we've talked about that several times in our show, What Went Wrong, how you have to establish these rules to your universe.
The idea is that the universe that you create has got rules. Everything's got rules. I mean, we exist on planet Earth, and we have, a law of gravity, physics, water's wet, sand is not, those kind of things, to where it's established that you are a earthling on Earth doing Earth things. And that's how you ground your reality. The problem is when you have established rules of the universe and then you go changing them.
Superman can fly because of the sun.
The rules of the universe are established and everything goes from that. If we were to see something happen that didn't fit into the rules of the universe, like all of a sudden Superman's not flying, he's just walking.
Legion is a good example of how it makes absolutely no sense. How this character gets killed, but his multiple personalities survives. In our Serial Rabbit films, when people die, they die. But there are other ways to bring an actor back. So, like Johanna's character in Serial Rabbit 5 is killed, but we bring her back as her twin sister. Cliche-ish and whatnot, but there's still that rule that you can't break. But yet we're able to break that death rule with Legion. But he's the only character we can do that with.
Every film needs good characters, but what makes a good character is a good arc. A good character changes, learns, evolves. Even in a movie like Serial Rabbit, your protagonist needs to grow. But who exactly is the protagonist in Serial Rabbit 7? It might not be who you think it is. Brett and Joey explore their options.
Chris's character could work for Genomod.
He could be the link somehow.
Yeah.
But he doesn't fully know what's going on
okay.
because we want him to feel betrayed at the end.
Yeah.
That would maybe make the Steve character the Genomod guy, the connection, because he's the one that's able to bring it all up. So that's when he's revealed, it's like, you were the bad guy? I'm German! That's going to kind of like make Chris, I guess, maybe the final girl.
The final girl.
I also have this little problem. It's tiny, really.
What if we just play him up? Where he just thinks he's Steve Buscemi the whole time. That's why he's happy with Mr. Pink, and he wants to be.
He's a Steve Buscemi impersonator.
Yeah, that's what if everybody does the phone stuff, that's what he's like. Hey, he was like, I don't need to do deep fakes. I look like him.
I don't think I can milk that very well.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like one.
It's a one note.
Yeah, it's a one.
It's a one note joke. Yeah.
Like, what if Chris's character was some kind of like agoraphobia type guy that's trying to like get over his fear of that, and that's why he's out.
It's a bit of a fear.
And he gets caught up in all this shit. It's like not really.
It's kind of cliche-ish,
Yeah.
but that's a good character arc.
Yeah.
I mean, every movie has that they're afraid of something, and then they have to confront that fear.
Yeah.
I like where you're headed.
Yeah.
You got to have them have a fear or something.
I don't know. If I don't get a grip on this soon, I'm afraid I'm going to start to hate them. I don't want to hate them.
What's the fear of rabbits? Is there such a thing? And then you gotta get this thing, and you gotta meet this, conquer your fear. The best way to meet is to meet the ultimate rabbit.
And it's an actual achondroplastophobia.
I'm scared to death of midgets.
Such a long name for a short problem.
He thinks that he's being stalked by midgets. And there actually is a midget who's stalking him. Everyone thinks he's nuts, but he keeps looking over, and the midget runs away. And it's like, there's a midget. It's like, there really is one. Like he'll wake up in the middle of the night, and there's a midget at his bed, and then he like turns the light on, and then it's not there. But there's actually a real midget actually going around trying to taunt him. Then we can decide on the arc. We can kind of build a mini arc for him. So he starts off this way, and he ends here. So how do we get that in 3 or 4 steps?
And just like that, Chris overcame his fear of midgets. His character arc complete.
If you want to create a great character, They have to grow and evolve. And the best way to do that is start at the end. Look at where you want that character to end up. Do you want them confident or do you want them broke and busted? Figure out where they are at the end. Then make them the exact opposite at the beginning. And then the movie is about how they get from point A to point B. That's the best way to create a good character. Perfect is boring. What I mean by that is you don't want your character to be perfect. They have to be wrong sometimes. If you're going to make the character change, if they're going to end up this way, and they're at the exact opposite at the beginning of the film, then they've got to be wrong, right? They've got to make mistakes and they've got to not be perfect because they've got to change. That's a problem. That's one of the problems with too many films today is they have these perfect characters because it's wrong to show this type of person can make mistakes or is flawed. They're not interesting. And I'm not going to sympathize with them. I make mistakes all the time. How am I going to relate to somebody who's perfect?
Well, I did kill you.
Our introductions are kind of one day or 7 o'clock at night on Wednesdays or whatever, or we just do one introduction scene a day. Each of their introduction scenes sends them to the concert. And then the rest of the movie takes place at the rave. That way we have one location from then on out, or the concert, or whatever it may be. And that way, and that'll simplify. So that will play into how we write and structure the movie as well. Okay. Introduce the character, send them to the rave, shit happens at the rave, some die, some survive, then we have the to be continued. And it still basically falls into the right category. Act 1 is the introduction to the characters, sending them on. Then Act 2 all takes place at the rave. Then Act 3 is just that wrap up.
I'm Julia, the event promoter. Are you here for the party?
Kinda, yeah.
Oh, great. What's your podcast?
Maybe we should have an opener, a scary, creepy opener. Which is we kind of always do that with serial rabbits. Is you start with a kill.
Yeah.
So I don't have a kill in this, so that's maybe something we can just figure out. But figure out whether it's taking place in the dystopian guy's timeline, or how it all fits into it. Because when we jump in, because the whole dystopian thing is about him creating a movie, and if we put the kill before that, then it's not really part of the movie. Or how does that fit in? Yeah. So that's something we can think about and revisit. But I'd like to get it done.
Well, maybe he's already watching something like you come home, TV's on. He's already like he was watching something. He's like, what's this crap? I don't want to watch this. It doesn't really have anything to do with that movie or with. He wants his own movie.
That's not bad that we come out of that.
Yeah,
but it would probably be like it would have to be like the end of a serial rabbit movie. So I want another one.
Oh yeah, okay.
You've seen them all.
Yeah,
but I've only seen 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. But they only make the odd ones.
That's all they made. They never made the even ones.
So yeah, that's not bad. Exterior, somewhere, night.
Yeah, because we could do whatever. We could do whatever kind of kill in there.
Yeah, any kind of rabbit kill. Then pans back from TV. Guy is watching movie.
These movies are so gross. Why do you like them so much?
They're cathartic. Keeps me from going out and becoming a real serial rabbit.
Now, normally, I would take all these scenes and start doing it chronologically. I would start placing it, doing this, doing that. I'm just going to now start just listing the scenes. Intro, dystopia, Allison, hack, AI, right, SR10. Okay, so when I go in, I just type in interior, house, night, intro, dystopia, blah, 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 blah. And then I go down to the next thing. Interior, this, and then I can, so I've just got the note. This is what this scene needs to be. I'm just going to type that, and I just put that in the entire script.
And then flesh it out.
And then I take a night off, and that's in there. I just let my brain come in, and then I can come in the next day and I just start writing and going into detail of the scene. I took our guideline here, and then I just took it by step, and just wrote in there each individual scene with just some notes and just a quick descriptor of what's going on and what's happening in that scene. So there may be bigger notes. There may be, oh, do this, 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 and this. Do this and this. Do this. Do this, 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 this. In each little thing. And then I can just, and it just plays in my head, and I just basically transcribe what's happening in my head.
Gotcha.
It tells Allison to put a blind guy who is an awesome swordsman. Now, a good idea would be to skip lines.
So you can make notes.
So you can you can make notes, or you can put additional scenes in, or rearrange scenes.
Yeah.
Or so that you have, if you have 2 lines there, you can go back and you can put another scene there. So that's the general gist. Basically, it takes up 5 pages. So we've got 44 different shots, 44 different scenes. We got a movie.
With the script nearing completion and a minimal budget looming over their heads, Brett and Joey must now break down the script and get it ready for pre-production. Find out how their budget and other restrictions can alter that perfect script. Next time on Long Shot.
And if you see